Hi everyone, welcome back to another gameplay of Infinitode 2. So let's continue with the Tower Guide series. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at the missile tower. Now as always, we're gonna analyze the main stats, the special stats, how to best use this tower, how this tower works, the abilities, the effectiveness against enemies, the main strengths and weaknesses, and then how to best place this tower. At the very end, we're gonna also analyze normal research and endless research. So to showcase this tower, I'm gonna actually go very quickly here to stage 5.1. Yeah, because this stage is very long, so we're gonna just see this tower in action right here. So first of all is the cost. Now this tower is by far the most expensive one we have seen, because it's going to be 123 coins. And of course all these costs are being reduced because I have max normal research, but still, no, it's pretty expensive. Game description: missiles explode with high damage, can reach enemies at any distance. And out of the 5 stats, we have range, damage, and crowd damage maxed, so 5 out of 5. Very low attack speed, 1 out of 5, and then low agility, 2 out of 5. Effectiveness against enemies: this tower deals 50% more damage to icy and light enemies. It deals normal amount of damage to strong, healers, and bosses. It deals 50% of damage to armored venom fighters. It deals only 25% of damage to regular enemies. And the main weakness of this tower is the fact that it cannot target and damage in any way fast enemies. You can see the 0. Now this tower as well cannot attack air enemies by default. You're gonna need an ability, exactly like multi-shot. So you don't have air attacking, but as you get an ability, you can actually attack air enemies. So jets for 100% of damage, and then jets for 25% of damage. So if we place this tower, we can see that you can find the normal stats here. So range, damage, attack speed, rotation speed, and projectile speed. And then as special stats, this tower has explosion range and LRM, aiming speed. This is long range missile aiming speed. And now explosion range is exactly the same as a cannon. So these missiles upon contact are going to explode and are going to do damage in an area. This is the area. And remember that now after the nerfs on explosion on 1.8 patch, now the explosion damage gets mitigated depending on the amount of enemies that it can hit. So now explosion is much worse than what it was before. Instead, this long-range missile aiming speed is a missile that this tower is going to shoot even if the enemies are not in range. So you can see that that's the range, right? And even if the enemies are not in range, you're gonna see this missile that is gonna be fired. And the amount of time that it takes for the tower to attack, see this missile? That's the longer range missile. And the amount of time it takes for the tower, it's this number here. So it's a percentage over seconds. So when it reaches 100%, you can shoot the missile. So you can just do 100 divided 17.6 in this case, and that's the amount of time it takes to the tower to shoot this long range missile. And then when the enemies get in range, you can see here, that's when the tower is gonna actually attack them with the normal attack speed. And now you can see the tower actually another range, that is this one right here. This range, it's called minimum range, and when the enemies are inside the range, they're not gonna be able to be attacked and targeted by the tower. Could you see that before these regular enemies were inside the range right here, but they weren't attacked, and that's the minimum range of the tower. So this tower has 2 different ranges. The other one that's called maximum range, and then this one right here, that's the minimum range. And yeah, this is the only tower in the game where if enemies get too close, it cannot directly attack them. But still, if you have missiles around, flying or anything, they can still, target the enemies even if they are right here. So the tower cannot attack them directly, but missiles around can still target them. Another cool thing about these missiles is the fact that they're gonna actually rotate in the air and are gonna follow up the enemies. And if you miss with these missiles, you don't need to worry, because they're gonna always, like the missiles, even if they miss, they're gonna try to rotate and are gonna try to aim again. So that being said, let's just go here into level 1.1 and let's just showcase the rest of the tower. So yeah, let's go here through the abilities. First ability is going to increase the minimum range and it's going to increase the maximum range. So see here how the range becomes larger, the minimum one becomes larger, and also the maximum one becomes larger. And also projectiles rotate faster. So that's pretty much it. This one, you lose damage. So in this case, I'm going to lose 55% damage, but I'm going to shoot now 3 missiles with it. So if you consider 3 missiles times 45%, you can see that the total damage becomes 135%. So that's higher than 100%. So yes, you lose a portion of damage, but you can shoot more missiles. And this is a very good ability. I always recommend to get this ability here. And then the last one is the one that, as I said before, is going to allow this tower to attack airborne enemies. Another cool thing is that when you get this ability, you lose the minimum range. So you can see here, if I get it, see that now there isn't anymore the minimum range. So now the tower, even if enemies are very close to it, the tower can still attack and shoot missiles directly towards them. So that's pretty much how it works. Then here at level 10, you unlock this passive. In this case, you're gonna do more damage. In my case, for the amount of research I have, is 26% more damage to enemies that have more than 73% HP. So enemies closer to full HP are gonna receive this extra damage. And then lastly, at level 20, you unlock the ultimate, or you can choose between going for the ultimate or going with 10% more power. Power increases every single stat, as you can see, other than range and the special stats. Remember also that the special stats can only be increased through abilities or through the tower leveling up passively. So if you upgrade the tower, you cannot increase the special stats. And then here we could just take a look at the ultimate. This ultimate is pretty decent. It's not super powered, but it's still pretty good. You're gonna do even more damage with the level 10 ability. You can see you're 37% more damage. So the total is 63%, right? If I count it correctly. And also another thing is that if you have compact missiles, that is the ability that you're always going to have, the missiles are going to be able to aim at multiple enemies at the same time. So you can really maximize the DPS, especially from the explosion, because in that way, by having these missiles attacking different parts of the wave, you can just create explosions in different parts and you can just exploit the AoE. All right, and that's pretty much the tower. Now, considering the fact this tower has minimum range, you're always gonna place this tower in like not at the side of the path, because you can see that otherwise you're always gonna need to worry about the minimum range, but you want to place it further away. So for example, this spot right here, these spots are perfect for this tower, because also this tower has some pretty decent range already. So as you upgrade it, you're gonna gain even more range. So don't worry about the fact that you cannot like reach the beginning or anything. This tower is best placed if you place it close to the end, so close to your base, and yeah, in a spot also that the tower doesn't need to rotate a lot. So for example, these two spots may be the best ones for this tower. So I'm gonna choose this one and go compact missiles, and then I'm gonna just showcase in this case the tower. So I'm gonna just make it level up as I explained the main strengths and weaknesses, and then as it reaches level 20, we're gonna also take a look at the ultimate. So as I said before, this is the best way to place it. So don't place it close towards the path. Place it further away, and also closer to the portal, to the base. Sorry, so closer to the end. It's just slightly better. And you can see that as you get the 3 missiles, you do some pretty decent explosions. You can follow up the enemies, so you can see the missiles here following up the enemies. And if you miss, you might be able to see it here in a moment. If you miss with the missiles, they're gonna still be in the air, and they're gonna try to rotate and to aim again. So you never waste the missiles. And of course you have also a long range missile, this one right here, that on very long maps, even if you can't reach the enemies, you can still damage them somehow with this long range missile. Now one bad thing, one extra weakness of this tower, if we can call it like that, one negative aspect of the tower, is the fact that the upgrades are very expensive. The most expensive upgrades in the whole game, after Gauss, I think. Only Gauss is more expensive. And especially the last 3 levels are super expensive, like for a normal tower. So yeah, you're gonna need a lot of coins to level it up. And even if I have here research where like I'm already reducing the price of the upgrades, still you can see how expensive they are. So I'm gonna place here just a freezing just to help out a little bit, slowing down especially regulars, because this tower only deals 25% of damage to regulars, so it's pretty low damage. And yeah, so as the tower levels up, you can see here the stats going up, explosion range, the speed of the long range missile, and of course all the other stats. Level 8 here, you can see level 9 is going to be almost 2300 coins, so that's like a ton. And yeah, so that's how this tower works. I think that this is considered a late game tower because of the fact that it has very nice range, as you can see. And considering the missiles, the explosion, I know it's very good for when the enemies have a lot of HP, especially because of the level 10 and then the ultimate passive. You know, you do more damage to enemies that have that are closer to being full HP, and it's percentage damage. So no matter how much HP the enemies have, you always do more damage to them. And in this case here, I'm not choosing between the first and the third ability because I don't gain anything from both of them. This one increases my max range, but I can already reach the beginning of the path. And yes, I can make my projectiles rotate faster, but I don't think it's really needed in this case. And also this one, there are no air enemies in this level, and also no enemies are gonna get in range. So also removing the minute range, it's also pointless. And yeah, you can see here level 9, I only got it level 9, and still level 10 is gonna be 3800 coins, so that's way too expensive. And also let's take a look here at the ultimate. So I'm gonna just use it so you can see the multiple enemies aiming being very good, especially against enemies that are tough to destroy. This one right here, the regulars. So we're gonna see here the missiles. Now you're gonna see that instead of always like converging into the first enemies, they're gonna start splitting. So one missile is gonna fly towards the first enemy, and the other ones are gonna try to destroy the other enemies to really maximize the overall damage that you do. See some missiles here going towards the center of the wave of the enemies, not always shooting like the first one, but just splitting up. And then of course you can just change the targeting of this tower as for most of the others. And yeah, that's it. So that's how the ultimate works. That's all the abilities pretty much. And even if you miss, remember always that the missiles can then rotate. You can see this one here rotating and aiming again and trying to destroy again more enemies. So yeah, you never waste missiles. They're always gonna try to come back and to do more damage. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the missile tower showcase. Now going into research, as always, you can just upgrade and increase all the different stats. The general ones, the special ones right here, the passive experience, and then down here you can find the abilities. On Endless, you actually gain a new ability, because on Endless you can also increase. So this is the new ability that you can increase. You can increase the amount of missiles that you gain from the second ability. So the amount of missiles that you shoot from compact missiles. And and you can get another 4 missiles. So that's like from 3 you can shoot up to a total of 7 missiles. And of course this increases dramatically the overall DPS that you do, but still remember that the other weaknesses still are there. The fact that the tower is going to be pretty expensive, and now that explosion has been nerfed in the 8.8 patch, exactly as it happened for cannon. This tower before the 1.8 patch was one of the best towers in the game, but now after the nerf of explosion, yeah, it's just no, it's pretty decent still, especially on some very late stages or some stages that have very long and large maps, but it's not as good as before. So yeah, that was it. And of course on Endless you can just increase further all the other stats, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.